Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what's going on? What up, what up, what up? It is another State of Economics 101. So, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly about money, guys. So, not any kind of financial advice. Got to be a disclaimer always that I am not a financial advisor, and this is just for educational purposes only. Basically, my Wednesday shows, if you guys are new here, isn't so much strictly crypto focused, but I do look at all the macro environments that do affect everything. Let's not be blindsided in thinking that Bitcoin and other cryptos do not have correlation to the regular markets that everybody else is used to. So we can usually see things happening in certain markets and see how they actually work with the whole crypto market right alongside of it. What's up, Jason the Tiger Osborne? What's up, my dude? Don't forget to smash that lizardy like button as you guys are sliding on in here, guys. Yo, hopefully everybody had a great 4th of July. I stayed at home, being safer than, safe than sorry type of deal. For me, it's like I've seen a lot of fireworks in my day. I wasn't really going to miss out on anything with that. Fireworks usually in my area are kind of lackluster unless I want to go into the craziness that they call Chicagoland, and go out to the Navy Pier area to watch fireworks over there. But then you're dealing with all the crazy people concentrated in one spot. Don't even want to deal with that. So it's like mediocre fireworks or stay at home and hang out. And yeah, so I hung out with the wife and everything. It was awesome. Still had a good time. Still had a great time. So hopefully you guys, if you did something, was safe and responsible and all that good stuff. So without any further ado, let's dive right on into today's stuff. Oh, all right. I'm just like rolling into this and trusting that all my OBS stuff is working from last Saturday. Or last Friday. Yeah, DCA was the last time I streamed, so yeah, it was like last Friday. Damn. So that's very courageous of me, trusting that OBS and my computer were playing nice. I won the jackpot. So here we are looking at TradingView. It is a free tool. If you guys want to sit there and utilize this, you can make a free account. It has nothing to do with me. This is where a lot of traders come in, and this is like one of the first places that a lot of people start looking at. The difference between an avid trader and you is that they have a paid account, which allows them to to put their charts up and make their own charts and all that stuff. So it's something that I don't get into too much, but I do have friends. So with friends, you get some insight on how to deal with it, and then one of your friends says, "Hey, check this out," and it's an awesome little tool that's also available if you are a part of DCA Patreon, which is awesome. Shout out to my man Variant J. Hopefully he'll be getting everything up and running and be back to live streaming on DCA here soon too. So coming into this, we're looking at the S&P 500 kind of trading out sideways. NASDAQ 100, trading out sideways. Dollar strength up nominally. Dow Jones Industrial Average still trading out sideways. The Russell 2000 took a good pullback, took a 1.25% drawback in the 24-hour period. So that's a pretty good, nasty little hit. So I wonder what tech sectors in the Russell 2000 took a big pullback that was also being accounted into here. Apple down a little over 0.5%. AMD's down almost 1.25%. Amazon flatlining. Tesla's up almost 1%. Netflix is up almost 1%, but they've been doing a nasty drawdown this whole time. Meta, or we'll call it Facebook, and the conglomerate that it is almost up 3%. So as people are going to start doing more advertising, Meta should make more money. If Meta's making more money, means that that companies are have a budget for advertising. So if you sit there and you look at their top advertisers, I do believe they do a full disclosure on all their advertisers on the platform. That you can sit there and look at who the top people are and see if there's a correlation of why there's so much more influx of stock share price value going up, because that's going to be, they rely on third party for their revenue. Not the best way to do everything. Somebody in my area made firework in the shape of Bitcoin. Nice. Wonder who could that have ever have been. What up, dude, my dude? What's up, my dude? As you guys are coming on in here, don't forget to smash that lizardy like button, guys. Don't forget to smash the button. So, yeah, I always tell people to be cautious when it comes down to a platform that relies on another company to do business with them. Third-party software. You are, like back in the day, whenever I was in high school, everybody was POS devices, and it's not what we use today. It's not the new acronym for poop coins. It's point of sales terminals. So people were writing software for the point of sales for these companies to be able to run their cash registers. You can only make that software for so many customers before you just flat out run out of customers to service. After that, how are you going to get them on? You're going to do like a small transaction subscription services so that you have a inflow of income so that you can keep your all your software stuff up to date. Again, you're relying on company, a third-party company to do business. That is, to me, a horrible investment. It's better off, it's like, not saying that companies can't survive like that, but you are really just gambling that company makes good software, can update it in a timely fashion to keep it relevant. The value of it has to always be there, and of course they need customers to always be updating the service. Just a lot of stuff in between with companies that can sit there and just pay for somebody to just custom make something and keep them on payroll, and that's what a lot of bigger companies do. So you're now looking at these like software development companies relying on small little mom and pop businesses, which makes it even worse. You don't even have the big market dominant share, and you're going after the little guys. Little guys are quicker to fail than the big guys, because the little guys don't have the amount of capital, the behemoth of capital behind them to keep rolling. That's why, to me, Meta is not a viable option. Same thing with like Tesla. I mean, if you want to sit there in and out, make a little bit of money by playing the arbitrage on it, to me that's okay. But after that, no, it's too risky of an investment. That's a risk on investment. And when you're doing investments, you want to be risk off, but you don't want to be too risk off, right? Because like no risk, no reward. I mean, I totally get the fundamental behind that, but you don't want to be just haphazard with all this risk on the table and going, well, it looks like we're going to go moon, and then it craps out on you. So kind of be careful with that. I mean, like AMD making a product, selling it to the public. As long as they make a good product, free capital will dictate that this will always be there. Same thing with Nvidia, same thing with Apple, same thing with Tesla, Amazon. That you're dealing with companies that have big capital behind them, and they have physical products that are being distributed. So there's always money to be generated here. So these look like a great thing. Netflix is a subscription service. It's like, to me, that's risky, especially when Netflix has also done the gone woke policy, and they're now making kind of cringy stuff that's coming out, and it's just a matter of time before people will boycott Netflix and Netflix will go away. You see how this rolls. What up, Tech Man? He's like, I am tired. I feel you on that one. It just started raining here, and oh my god, it's like such a welcomed relief of heat. The temperature is already dropping in the house. It's amazing. That's why I'm kind of in sleeveless shirt right now, because it is a warm one today, guys. Totally a warm one. So going into the crypto market side of it, the crypto market cap in total is pulled back about a little over 1%. And again, this kind of goes in right with the big dogs up here. Even the big dogs are pulling back. Your stocks are pulling back, for the most part. Things that were typically going in an upward trajectory is now kind of pulling back. We'll get into some of the reason why behind this. But, it's like everything's pulling back in the crypto market. Bitcoin pulls back, everything else pulls back. There's nothing that will outpace Bitcoin. There's nothing that's going to flip Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin pulls back, all the poop coins will pull back with it. And we're trading out sideways, which is fine by me. We will roll over, guys. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. The market's trying to hold up on this. But you can see that since the peak up on this, we've printed out a sell signal right on this first red candle. We've put in a sell signal, even though it's rallied up. I think this is like a little fake out rally, a double top. And now we should, in my opinion, I think we're going to start rolling over from here. The MA moving average, 200-day moving average should start rolling over, and we should cross. And when we cross, I'm thinking that we'll probably push out to the $25,000 to $26,000 mark per Bitcoin and kind of hold that little line there. If we break through that, we're coming into the last support zone, which would be at that $23,000 marker. If we blow through our last support here, the floor actually comes into play at around 12.5 to 13.5, fellas. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but that smells like a buying opportunity to me. That sounds like Bitcoin on a discount. So if you guys are into Bitcoin on a discount, it may be coming up. I don't think we're going underneath the $10,000 marker. I don't even think we'll blow past 12,000. Maybe on a wick, but good luck trying to catch a knife. Most people are not that. That's usually people getting liquidated and people who already have buy orders set at those levels, right? If you've got buy orders at those levels, you're gambling. I mean, let's just be real here, okay? All right. And then In the last 90 days, guys, bro, like you can't even make this stuff up. The last 90 days, we've put on $1 trillion. No congressional oversight on this. No budget meeting on this. We are just spending. The debt per taxpayer is now over 249,000. We are at $251,478, and the average revenue per citizen is $14,000. Let that sink in. We are spending. We are like way outpacing anything that is sustainable in the United States. This is your Bidenomics. Bidenomics works by making everybody poor and corruption, the corruptest people in the government rich. I mean, Biden's doing a great job on that. I'm just saying. So we are looking at basically your child. You have a child, almost $97,000 in debt day one, and if everybody were to sit there and pay the $251,478 per citizen, tax-paying citizen, by the time the money got into the bank for the Federal Reserve, they would have already outspent that. I mean, it is just ridiculous. And then we're funding a war in another country, and that's expensive, guys. People don't realize how when you go into a wartime situation, your money flows go out. They don't come back in. They don't circulate around the homes so that everybody becomes they have better wealth generation at home. No. All that money's flowing out. Now we're not even doing it with our own people. We're just flowing money out into another country and letting them go to war while we bootleg it with our equipment and our money. And some of our military too. Don't forget that. So we're unofficially bootstrapping a war that we can't even afford. And which is hyperinflating our currency in a bad way. Unless we get somebody in office that can sit there and shut down the war machine, this is only going to get worse. We need somebody that has the brilliant idea to shut the war machine spigot off, and you'll cut half your budget. But, we're just plebs. We're just plebs here. We don't know anything. I mean, we learned at a very young age, and you make $2,500 a month. Well, all that scheduled fun doesn't come. It gets X'd off the list. It looks like it's go to work and sit at home for a month. I mean, it's like you're at $2,000 a month. Well, it's ramen noodle. You don't get to eat that steak dinner. You can't just let me just put that on credit. That's not how the real world works. But the government with their Fantasyland economics that doesn't work anywhere else in the world is being spoon-fed down our throats. And that's why it's like, I don't care how much you guys might be anti-Russia, pro-Ukraine. I do not care. The United States cannot afford to keep bootstrapping this war. We can't. I mean, if we're looking for the total destruction of the United States and the enslavement of the people, then we're right on track with that. Because it's like they're in debt and putting every person in the United States into massive debt. Because what happens when they can't pay the debt? I'm just saying, it's a small little thing. And then here we are still slowly depleting our strategic oil reserves. We had a couple of months where we didn't touch it, but March we dropped it even further, and we took a few thousand barrels of oil in April. I'm sure May, June, and then by the end of this month, we will have more oil taken out of the system. We are quickly depleting our strategic oil reserves, and once we lose energy independence, guys, all hell will break loose. Everything will get way more expensive. We will see the brunt force of the inflation will rear its ugly head once energy becomes greatly too expensive for us to be able to afford. So unless this government is willing to sit there and allow these companies to start drilling back into oil-rich fields, we're gonna go. We are gonna be down. We're gonna be doing a downward death spiral, as they did in Rome. It's like we will fall into chaos like France, and in the people, like the Dutch farmers, the war that they're fighting against the government of stealing their land, because cow farts. This is all building up to like economic pressure. Where is this finances coming from? And at some point in time, these finances cannot be profitable. This almost seems like I guess it's like a tinfoil hat, but it almost seems like a strategic downturn in the market for a bigger player to kind of come in and swallow up a whole bunch of assets, BlackRock, and let the market springboard back out like nothing happened. And I'm not sure if we're going to be if it's going to work exactly the way they want, because there are companies right now that are going in and buying everything in Ukraine right now. Ukraine is being pillaged very quietly while everybody focuses on Russia. And that kind of paradigm shift there can actually equate to having issues, with financial issues long term. Because again, where are they coming up with all this money? Who's bootstrapping all of this? Who's absorbing all the debt? BlackRock's getting bootstrapped by somebody funding all of this. It's like you can't come up with billions and billions and billions of dollars out of nowhere. It's all loans. That means there's somewhere down the line, there's a crediting company. Somebody's got to be the creditor. Somebody has to be the creditor. We'll get into that one too. And then you look at the market in general. We are starting to have an uptick of a number of unemployed people. Unemployment insurance claims, I'm not so big on that number, because there are people who try and get denied, and then they just end up in the total unemployed people that are registered unemployed. And this number has been steadily kind of coming back up. Not to lockdown status, no, where that was an artificial happening, but we're going to be seeing more and more companies sitting there and getting downsizing and getting rid of people if they can't stay profitable, like Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. We have, Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch is like shutting down 2 of their bottling manufacturing facilities. Why? Because nobody's buying them. That And it's like, and I'm surprised that we don't see the stock shareholders suing the company right now for for basically shooting themselves in the foot and killing the company off. They just made the company worthless overnight. And it's like, and I'm wondering at what point in time does the stock shareholders take legal action against all of this? That part's like just kind of makes you, scratch your head and go, right? I'm just saying. So, and with that being said, that means there's a few thousand people that are going to get added onto this unemployment list. That is the realization on this. We're going to have more and more companies downsizing like this as they don't make money. And as there's more people downsized, there's less people making money to spend money. So it's becoming like this whirlwind of, as people become unemployed, you either the government has to pay them to stay at home and be unproductive, or the government has to deny them unemployment benefits and force them back into the workforce. We will see how this one really works out long term, but we see a lot of people that are unemployed. You can't find good workers, and then when you do find workers, as California finds out, they're hooked on fentanyl. Because that's a great business model to have. Like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to be able to get anybody that's worth anything. And if you know how to work and you're good at what you do, just find an employer that's straight up hard up trying to find somebody that's worth a crap, and you can walk in there and almost dictate your pay, your schedule, everything. Be like, I'll work better than all of them. I got brains still. I haven't smoked myself retarded. And they will relate to that and hire you. So nice to have some rain. Oh my God. It's cooling down in the house. Oh, this is amazing. So we're definitely coming through onto what I think will be a economic shift here if they keep going the way they are. And the reason why I think that if they don't stop something at some point in time, this is the part where I go, the slightest little pinprick here, and I don't know how the government deals with this. 4 U.S. banking giants now have $205 billion in unrealized losses sitting on the balance sheets. The 4 largest banks in the U.S. have a total of $205 billion of losses on their balance sheets, according to the new report. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, and Citigroup have compiled their losses due to bad bets in the bond market. You remember how I tell you to stop playing in the bond market? It is a freaking loser's game. Somebody thought it was a great idea to buy bad bonds for the government. This allows the government to have an unlimited budget as long as there are banks that are willing to commit suicide to buy bad debt. Bank of America, hope nobody's using them, is in the worst shape by the significant margin, with $100 billion in unrealized losses on the books at the end of the first quarter, guys. Bank of America, please, dear God, don't be in Bank of America anymore. Transfer your stuff out of there. Get it into a community bank, guys. Bank local. This isn't financial advice, but if you don't need a national bank, get your stuff into a community bank. They will fail last. This isn't financial advice or anything like that. It's just I bank locally. I do not bank with the big guys. Wells Fargo's gotten in trouble. JP Morgan's gotten in trouble. They have been fined many, many times for sleazy banking practices. Wells Fargo being one of the worst ones out of this group. I hope nobody's banking with Wells Fargo, because like they took loans out on people and foreclosed on their homes when they didn't pay the loans they took out on their houses. And they barely got fined by the government. They got fined not even half of what they earned, which blows my mind. Wells Fargo should have been gone a decade ago. Wells Fargo and JP Morgan Chase both have $40 billion in unrealized bond market losses, while Citigroup has $25 billion in paper losses. And that's just like such like red flags. You got the biggest banks out there that can fail overnight. Let the smallest little bank run happen on them and they are done. Please, for the love of God, nobody here be banking with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, or Citigroup. We do not need you guys to have your money. Like, your money at that point is better under your mattress in risk of a house fire. Take it easy, dude, my dude. Thank you for being here. You rock, my man. You rock. So, Silicon Valley is now the poster child representing the potential pitfalls of unrealized losses in the banking system. The bank's rapid failure back in March was sparked by the announcement that the bank had booked $1.8 billion loss from selling a portion of its bond portfolio. If any of these other banks had to do the same thing, they all are in default. There are over 197 banks out there with the same freaking problems. You cannot no longer trust these banks. They will lock you out of your account, tell you sayonara, just to save their own butts. Because you do not matter. You think that the banks are going to be like, oh, but you need your vital medication. No, your account's still locked out. It doesn't matter if you have medication. You should have thought about that before and had money outside of the banking system. And at that point, why use the banking system if it's not safe in the banking system? So, Bank of America said its own bond portfolio is not for sale, a move which could hinder the amount of money the bank can generate from deposits. The BOFA has said it has no plans to sell underwater bonds, avoiding a catalyst losses that now exist only on paper. The bank's portfolio consists of a highly rated government-backed security that are likely to eventually be paid back when the underlying loan matures. Yeah, I'll read that one again because like that I heard blah blah blah. We are gambling that the loans could be repaid without restructuring the loan because the loan can't mature. The bank's portfolio consists of highly rated, that's a good one right there. Highly rated government-backed securities. What are they secured by? Not by gold and silver. So I don't know what they're backed by. I would really like to know how they're backing it. Are they backing it with like a signed letter? You know, it's almost like having Santa Claus, you know, sign something to you. Is it that kind of like government-backed security? It's like backed up by Santa Claus. eventually be paid back when the underlying loan matures. They won't get paid back in the sense that they think. So I like this one, like it blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Despite the paper losses, the Federal Reserve Bank of America and its peers fare well in recent stress tests on the banking system. The test, which simulated severely adverse conditions in the U.S. economy, founded by America's top 23 banks, would remain above their minimum capital requirements in a hypothetical recession, despite total project loss of $541 billion. Over $500 billion in losses. And they think that that's an okay scenario to be behind. If the top 23 banks had to realize $541 billion in debt, the U.S. economy would be crippled the next day. There would be nothing left to the American economy. There is no way possible that we could absorb that. No way. That would be. It's like, and it's like to see them glaze over this. That, like, how are they going to be able to absorb $541 billion in losses? How many people will be out of work? How many people will be out of any kind of funds because their bank shut down? What does that mean for all the homeowners that still own mortgages on their homes? You automatically become homeless because they're gonna walk up to you and be like, "We need our money, we need it now." But you just bought your house. Oh, well, we need the house back then, and we needed to sell it to somebody who does have the capital for it right now. Your new landlords will be BlackRock. You see how this goes, right? This is the insanity that we are basically setting up for. If they think that $541 billion in losses and the economy still we have any kind of semblance of an economy, they're out of their minds on this. And not to make anything any better in this whole situation, right? The Fed minutes have been announced. Are the headings and Bitcoin's reaction? Almost all officials were in favor of keeping interest rates exactly where they were at the June meeting. Some officials supported a 25 basis points increase in the June meeting, which would have been a 0.25% raise, which would have put us, I think, like 5.75% interest rate. Some favored for the increase, but agreed to pause. Fed officials think that a moderate recession may start this year. Brothers, we are already in a recession. They're just trying to redefine what that word is. So we've been in a recession. I don't know about you guys. Savings depleted. Going to the grocery store costs 50% more than it used to. We're in a depression already. Can I say it's a Great Depression? I would say we're probably right there for a Great Depression. Now, are we in a hyperinflation situation? Not quite yet. We're almost there. We're really close. It's going to be how the government continues to spend money relentlessly that will teeter us over that precipice. All participants agreed that it would be appropriate to maintain a restrictive stance, which is on the monetary policy. At the 13th and 14th of June meeting, Almost all officials approved additional rate hikes this year. Some participants observed that resolving the debt limit issue, removing a source of uncertainty. So, some were sitting there thinking that the debt limit issue has been removed, a source of uncertainty. It's like, if you have no debt limit, I guess there's no uncertainty, right? Because that's the way it feels right now. All members supported the continuation of tight monetary policy, so they're not willing to revert like Britain did and going back into quantitative easing, where they lower the rates to stimulate the market so that they start borrowing more and we have more capital out there. That's not a good idea either. That will cause more inflation because you will have more dollars in play. Bad idea. Supporters of the rate hike stated that it's the very tight labor market, stronger than expected economic momentum. Ugh. Words. Little evidence that inflation is on its way to returning, but there's little evidence that that the inflation is returning to 2% over time. They're not going to be looking at 2% inflation for another 4 years. Yeah, because and that's going to get kicked down the road. 6% inflation is now going to be the standard. That's going to be their new target, because they will not be able to put the inflation genie back into the bottle. You can't. This is an impossibility. Once the genie's been released, there's no spending your way out of it. Because the spending is the problem. Bum. So members maintained their expectations of a mild recession towards the end of the year. We're already in a depression, so they're expecting it to get worse, is what I'm thinking. That they're stating here, right? This just means that it is going to get worse. Congratulations, everybody. We have economic irresponsibility with unlimited budgets. And is this going to be good for any taxpayers? Oh, hell no. This is going to be an absolute disaster. This is going to make it harder for me and you to get loans for things that we need in order to, live life. It'll be harder for us to get a loan for a house. It'll be harder for you to get a loan for a startup business, because all of their money is wrapped up into these big corporations that have been slowly dying for 20 years. I mean, look at GE Capital. GE Capital the company itself hasn't done anything in decades. They're not innovative. The company itself is just stale. And this has been like that since the late 80s. So it's a zombie company that is a shell of its former self. And many, many of these companies have hollowed themselves out like that over the decades. And that's where we're at today. We're now dealing with hollowed out companies being controlled by banks that are on the hook for all this money, and that if the government doesn't try to intervene in any way, it's going to break the backs of America. We're already screwed, guys. This is why I animately tell people to get on board with that sweet Bizity Bitcoin and protect your monetary wealth. I hate to see anybody not be able to get their money out. Your money is your money. You worked hard for it. That's your economic energy. Nobody has the right to stop you from utilizing it, nor do they have the right to sit there and steal it from you because they did something wrong. So it's just better off to kind of not, being a more risk-off situation with the banking industry. There are better ways of holding on to your money. Like, one, if you got to have it in the bank, use a local community bank. A lot safer. They don't have so much bad assets on their books. All that stuff. So they're gonna fail. They will fail, but they will fail slower. But going on to other big companies, there's been shifts in the market that, it's like everybody has been looking at AI development here and how AI has been putting people out of work in some areas. Like there's a whole news agency that just put all their journalists out of work because AI took over all their jobs. So all their news is now AI generated. Scary times. But we're going to see more as more people continue to use AI. It's going to continue to push everybody out of work because they're going to try to utilize AI to mimic people. And the more that people utilize AI, the more data that AI development gets in understanding how to mimic you. Just saying. So I tell people to be careful about it, but we do see a paradigm shift going on a little bit here since GPU mining is not very mildly profitable, if you call that profits. If you're spending 50 cents to run something and you're pulling in 70 cents total, so you're making 20 cents per day. Yeah, you can consider that profits. Yes, that's a Satoshi earned. I mean, I get the whole argument, but you still got to be able to pay those bills. Now, if you're mining and then you're working and you're paying your bills that way, that's fine. I know a lot of people that do that. But you got to keep the relationship of, if I spend $50 in electric, am I going to get $50 worth of crypto out of the deal? Or could I have sat there and took my $50 worth of my $50 instead of my electric bill and just purchased the Bitcoin instead? Which one would earn me more Bitcoin? That's how I look at things. It's like, yes, I love mining. Yes, I have mining equipment that's not currently on because it doesn't make sense to mine it right now. If I'm going to sit there and end up losing 95% of the crypto, why? For me, it's just, I'll just sit there and buy the crypto outright instead of spending the electric. It's just, for me, a better resource of allocation of resources. And I'm not putting any wear and tear onto my rigs because I'm not sitting there and allowing the rigs to just keep on mining away, going through their heat cycles and stuff like that. So, there's pros and cons to it all. You're not supporting a network. It's like what happened to all the tech crypto guys. I'm only in it for the tech. It's what you say to yourself when you're spending more in electric than you are pulling in crypto. Now, there's always that other argument down there of, hey, if I run my rigs, it's not about the price today, it's about the price in the future. I get that argument too. That's why I'm not completely not mining, still mining, just not on all of my equipment anymore until the price goes up a little higher. But you will find that because there's not so much GPU mining that's greatly profitable, and that comes into this story here. Hut 8 relocates 6,400 rigs, sees a growth in AI and high-performance computing. So now they're sitting here swapping their stuff over for AI development because they can sit there. They're already got these in server blades. They're already nice to set up to go into data centers, and they can sit there and allow people to utilize high-performance GPUs in big clusters. So I'm not sure how many GPUs. I believe Hut 8 was doing 8 GPU rigs. But there was some points that where they were doing 6 GPU rigs too, but I think they've all transferred them all over to their 8 GPU rigs. So I mean, if you're really doing the math on this, guys, and let me, calculator here. 6,400 times 8 GPUs. So that's 51,200 GPUs potential being swapped over onto AI development. So that's over 50,000 GPUs you're not in competition with any further. So that can make you help you out the little guy being profitable on GPUs. And the one thing I don't like about it is that they didn't sell and you don't get this big, huge downward pressure. Think about 51,000 GPUs hitting the market and in essence flooding it and dropping the price of the entire market. Just saying. But Hut 8 has also been fighting with the power company. Let's see here. How did it go? It's like they're on an ongoing legal battle with a third-party energy supplier, Validus Power, over alleged failure to meet contractual obligations. Operations at the facility have been suspended since November of 2022. Hut 8 declined to comment on the court case. They can't. Well, they can afterwards, but not during it. But they did confirm that 6,400 miners are being moved to Texas as the company looks to bring its idle equipment back online. The firm expects this specific batch of miners to be operational by the end of July. Providing 600 petahashes per second of operational capacity, taking Hut 8's total installed hash rate up to 3.2 exahashes per second. What up, Gandhi? Yo, what up, what up? So, Hut 8 also touched on the current climate for cryptocurrency mining ecosystem in light of tough market conditions that have prevailed for some 18 months. The industry has rebounded well over the past few months. They have seen more momentum than originally anticipated, partially due to some of our peers following our lead in the HPC and AI computing spaces. So they're just switching over their stuff to rent out to AI development. Hopefully they keep their equipment over there. We don't need to have their 50,000 GPU cluster back into the mining market. But sitting there and saying, hey, I hope that that they keep it over there, which also means that it's not going to be greatly profitable for us. As we start seeing some of these bigger companies starting to abandon the GPU aspect of it, it'll be interesting how the GPU market survives for mining wise long term, with bigger companies no longer bootstrapping in and providing high hash rate. Oh, I heard something about it, but I didn't look into that all the way, Gandhi. But yeah, I've been telling people AI is going to be, it's data collecting somewhere. It's absolutely data collecting. It's going through the whole internet and collecting data. Anytime anybody utilizes the platform, it's collecting that data. It is going to be absolutely wild how we're going to be seeing AI development and seeing that we got companies now diverting their machinery over to AI development is more alarm bells, because it's like you are basically ushering in Skynet. Oh yeah, I get to take that tinfoil hat off. Cool. Put that tinfoil hat over here and put a quarter into the oh god, what the hell is like put another thing into the I was right jar. It's like put a quarter in there. Pink. Yep, if it's online, it's free game. Been saying that for years. Saying it for years, guys. You want to know what's good for Bitcoin, though? True believers. We got MicroStrategy buys more Bitcoin, taking total treasury value above $4.5 billion. This is a big move for MicroStrategy. That they basically purchased another 12,000 Bitcoin worth $350 million. MicroStrategy is the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin in recent purchases. Takes its treasury to more than $4.5 billion while holding a total of 152,333 Bitcoin. Holy cow, that is a lot of Bitcoin. That makes me feel glee with joy. As per the filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissions, MicroStrategy said that they bought 12,333 Bitcoin for approximately $347 million in the period between April 9th and June 27th. In terms of Bitcoin count, this also turns out to be the largest one-time purchase by the company so far. As per the filing. Now I'm wondering whose coffer did they buy to have 12,333 Bitcoin for a purchase? I mean, you're talking almost a month period. That's a lot of Bitcoin to find. That tells me that they bought somebody's big bag of Bitcoin. And I wonder if he got it directly from miners. Because they'd be the ones that I would think that had enough Bitcoin for this. As per the filing, the average price of Bitcoin holding for the company is at $29,668 per Bitcoin, which means that MicroStrategy is at 100% in the profit territory with the price of Bitcoin where it's at right now. They are in the green with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is starting to make that company a lot of money. And they are going to turn into the BlackRock of freaking Bitcoin. People are worried about, BlackRock sitting there getting involved, trying to get a ETF going. It's like, guys, MicroStrategy is the Bitcoin whale here, guys. They have 152,333 Bitcoin. They can move the market by themselves. You want to see a $3,000 per Bitcoin? Let MicroStrategy sell. Everybody will be crying. Well, I wouldn't. I'd be jumping for joy because I'd be able to buy more Bitcoin. But I know a lot of people would be crying. They'd be like, Bit's going to zero. We'd have Michael Saylor. I mean, not Michael Saylor. What the hell is his name? We'd have all the gold guys. We'll just put it out there like this. We'll have all the gold guys trying to dunk on all the Bitcoin guys. It'll be funny because then you'll watch the Bitcoin bounce the other way shortly after, because there will be people that will buy that Bitcoin up faster than anything else. I'd be one of them. Now I remember the guy's name. Peter Schiff. It was going to drive me nuts if I couldn't remember his name. Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff would not be able to help himself but to dunk on it if Michael Saylor were to sell all of his Bitcoin. So, and there's been a lot of hullabaloo coming from the SEC. So the Supreme Court could stop the SEC's war on crypto. Although this may be true, when have you ever seen really the court system really stop the SEC from doing its job? Very, very, very rarely. So I think they're trying on a hope and a prayer to try to get some kind of sympathetic ear that crypto altcoins, poop coins are being unfairly targeted, and they're just getting mad that this is the first time that the rules are being applied. The rules that have already been set in stone, they've already been there. They're finally just getting enforced. And now everybody's like, oh, you haven't enforced it this whole time. How can you enforce it now? That's not how rules work. When somebody realizes there's been an oversight, you fix it, you move on, and you enforce the rules. So now that they have it fixed, they're enforcing the rules. Now they're all crying over Gary Gensler. And do I say that he's perfect? No. He did turn his head on a lot of poop coins, allowed a lot of people to get ripped off. But we're getting the regulation that everybody's been looking for. You know, you now have how they're going to be doing the framework of applying these laws. And we're gonna be sitting there and watching this as they try to beg and plead anybody with a sympathetic ear to say, "Oh, SEC bad, stop! You're going too far." Probably not going to happen. There's been a lot of times where SEC goes to court, SEC wins. I do not see anything being looked at as overreach. They're going to look at crypto in general as a scam, competition to the dollar, and not necessary. And it's too risky of an asset for the general public to be investing in, because they do not understand what they are investing in, is the way that they're going to look at it. So unfortunately, I do not see the Supreme Court being in the corner of the crypto industry. I see them being more into the corner of the regulators. Now, if the regulators don't lay out the framework properly, there may be a leg to stand on with this, but I don't see that happening. Gary Gensler would have to, and his people would have to absolutely drop the ball in order for there to be a possibility. They're trying to sit there and it's like crypto's fighting chance is embedded in with the very words and legal principles put forth by the America's founders in the Constitution. They designed the Constitution on the principle of separation of powers inspired by the Enlightenment. Their visions were of a system, but this is one branch that's supposed to be regulating that, any kind of an investment. It's not like it's all three branches coming together and going after one industry. So they already have the separation of powers that the Constitution has. So they're fighting on a bad argument with that, and I will laugh that one off because that one is like a vague manipulation of how. Because like. If that was the case, then a lot of these scammy little regular stocks would have workarounds and would have been in place decades ago. They're not there, which means that this whole lawsuit here, it really doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. They've got too many regulators in the back side of everything going, no, we don't need this. Elizabeth Warren, blah, blah, blah. None of these bureaucrats believe in any of the crypto They understand Bitcoin a little bit, some of them, and they understand the necessity of Bitcoin. But the rest of it, they will allow it to be hung high and dry. So I don't think we're going to be seeing much progression through the court system with the SEC, so don't hold your breath on it. I would be sitting here, if you're playing in the poop coin market and you're gambling, have fun with it until the door gets shut. I think this is the door getting shut down here, and the industry trying to scramble to fight this. And I don't see them being able to fight this long term, guys. So I think it's going to be a short-lived war with the SEC. And overall, the Howey test will stand, and anybody who passes the Howey test cannot be invested into. So we'll see how this all works out for them. It'll be interesting. So does anybody have any comments or questions before I head up out of here, guys? We are over that 1 hour marker, fellas. So thank you everybody for being here. Certainly smash that Lizardly like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got a Patreon down below. Always helps out. Give you guys some behind the scenes knowledge and some help if you guys need it. Otherwise, you want to, please certainly join the Discord. Links down below, guys. Love to have you be part of the community. Discord's free to join, guys. So it's where all the cool people hang out. Just saying, guys. So with that being said, if you guys don't have any other comments or questions, certainly drop those FAs in the Chizzy chat, because you guys are rated F for freaking awesome. Yo. And with that being said, you guys don't have any other comments or questions? Peace out. Stay savage. And may your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.